What's up, everyone? I'm DJ Hamilton, and you're tuned into the DJ Sports Show, where we give you the latest, greatest, and most exciting sports stories in the world of sports, from interviews to having people's stories heard and told. This is the DJ Sports Show. Let's get it!
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm your host, DJ Hamilton, and welcome to DJ Sports, a place where we discuss sports, share bold opinions, and untold stories that make a difference. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, and share anybody you know who loves sports. And if you're listening on any audio platform, make sure to leave a 5-star rating for anybody you know. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm recording this a day later than I usually do, due to yesterday being Mother's Day. Yesterday, I wanted to spend time with my mom. You know, you want to be present there with your mom, especially on that special day. And we went to go see the Michael movie, which was honestly a spectacle. It was better than I even imagined and what I predicted it would be. It blew expectations out of the water. It was so cinematic, and I wanted to take my mom out, so I didn't have time to do a podcast yesterday. And plus, by the time I came back, I was exhausted. By the time the Spurs game ended yesterday, it was already 10 o'clock. I'm like, yeah, we're going to have to sit this Sunday out, buddy, because I was exhausted by then. So I said, yeah, Mother's Day. I said, I'll give this one a pass. But we're recording this today, Monday, after the events yesterday one began and Jack and things like that, and the NBA draft lottery. So I'm going to talk about the NBA draft lottery, my reactions. I have some winners and losers, just some quick reactions. I didn't really take notes. I just gave my instant thoughts, what I thought in the time, because it happened right before our movie start time, which happened at 3:30. So we're going to get right into it, because, man, there were some things that really happened in this draft lottery that really stood out to me. But first things first, for the top four, we have the Washington Wizards. We have the Utah Jazz at number 2. We have Memphis Grizzlies at number 3. We have the Chicago Bulls at number 4. And my initial reaction when the Wizards won the number 1 pick with the rights to select either Adrian Abansa, Aaron Peterson, who I think are the favorites to go 1 or 2, I was like, ooh. Because these were one of the teams that were definitely tanking throughout the course of the season. They clearly weren't trying to win games. They were like 1-24 in their last 25 games of the season. And it was a clear tank job, clear as day. And now that they have the top draft pick, we got to start asking ourselves, Anthony Davis, is he a good luck charm? Because AD could stand for always drafted. Because now that's 3 organizations that got a number 1 pick, either through acquiring him in a trade or trading him away from their organization. Think about it. Pelican traded him away in 2019 to the Los Angeles Lakers. They got the number 1 pick and got Zion Williamson. 2025, Dallas Mavericks, they somehow acquired him from the that Luka Doncic trade, which was egregious. And they got the number 1 pick to get the rights to draft Cooper Flag. And then now this year, the Wizards acquire Anthony Davis from Dallas, who didn't want him anymore. They want to ship him off, get off his contract, save some money in salary cap space to sign some key guys they could build around Cooper. And now they get AJ DeBansa, who is the presumptive favorite to go number 1 according to Jeremy Woo of ESPN. So you might have to, I know everybody calls him AD, some say always damaged because he's always injured, but the man has some good luck. I ain't gonna lie, some good karma comes with him. Just gotta say that. But in all seriousness, now that I'm the Washington Wizards, I got the number 1 pick, the first number 1 pick since John Wall in 2010, who was representing the team. You got to really ask yourself, we want to draft DeBansa. If I'm them, I'm drafting DeBansa. He's my guy. To me, in my big board, personally, I have DeBansa going number 1. I think he's a future superstar in the NBA. If you don't see it, I don't know what your eyes are deceiving you of, because this man can score the basketball. He's an animal competitor. He loves to compete. And he also can score from anywhere on the court. He is innate at drawing fouls and getting to the rim. And then you pair him with hopefully a healthy Anthony Davis, Trae Young coming back. He has a player option coming into this offseason. I expect him to opt in. And then you have Alex Sarr, a young building block in your front court as a center, 7'1", 7'2", who showed some promise in his second year. Took a leap from his rookie year to his sophomore year. You got some pieces there in Washington. Keyshawn George. You got some pieces. If I'm Washington, you add DeManta to the mix, and now you're talking about potential team. I think that could really make it to the play-in next year, or even maybe lock in a number 6 spot in the playoffs. If AD and Trae Young stay healthy and the Banter comes in and makes the immediate impact I expect him to make, because I think he's going to be an immediate impact player who can affect your team and be a go-to scorer right away. I can see this team making a lot of noise in the Eastern Conference. Tell you guys right now, and I know some people saying, oh, the Wizards should trade back number 2 with the Utah Jazz. If I'm the Wizards, I'm not doing that. Keep the number 1 pick. Don't be stupid. And get the Banter. This is, especially in a loaded, talented class like this is the best draft class I've seen since 2018. 2018 had Luka, SGA, Trae Young, Jaren Jackson Jr., Michael Porter Jr. The list goes on and on. Jalen Brunson, a lot of champions, all-stars, all-NBA guys, some MVP caliber players in that class. This class has a chance to be the best class since 8 years ago, almost a decade now. And this is the most talented class I've seen this decade so far. You draft a guy in Debanza, and I think he's going to be an MVP potential type player. So if I'm the Washington Wizards, hey, they're going to have these guys in for workouts, interviews, things of that nature. I think they're going to bring in Debanza, Darren Peterson, because Darren Peterson, don't get me wrong, I think he's going to be in the running as well for potentially going number 1 in the draft. Maybe pair up a backcourt with him and Trae Young. That could be another interesting dynamic. But I think a duo with Young, Debanza, oh man, because we don't know. AD might get traded again. There's been rumors out there flirting around. You've been seeing in the news that AD might want to get off of him and build around Debanza, Sar, and Trae Young. Because the AD, remember, he has that big contract. And the fact that he's been injured a lot over the years, you might want to get off that and probably get some assets for him. So the Wizards, big winners in this draft class. They're one of my winners coming into the draft lottery. And kind of expected. It's good to see a team that actually was terrible, one of the best odds, actually get the top pick compared to last year where we got those Mavericks who got the top pick. And they were less than 1% chance of getting the top pick. It was astronomical what happened last year. Another winner for me, Clippers. Clippers, they got the Pacers pick. Now they dropped out the top 4 and was within the 5 to 9 range. Remember, the Pacers protected their pick 1 through 4, and they protected it 10 through the rest of the way, I believe, or through the rest of the lottery. The fact that the Pacers didn't protect between that 5 to 9 range, honestly, to me, is honestly surprising. They basically traded away toiled away a season, and traded away their future for Ivica Zubac. You can't make this up. And for once, the Clippers finally have good karma. They finally got good luck on their side. They got a top 5 pick in a loaded draft. And if I'm the Clippers, you got options now. You have options to, I think after the top 4, we know who the top 4 are. DP, Debanza, Boozer, and Caleb Wilson. I'm going to get back into the rest of the 3 teams in the top 4, but I just want to quickly talk about the Clippers. You have a chance now. If I'm LA, you already got Darius Garland there. So if I'm LA, I'm not really looking at Darius A-Cup because they're kind of the same player in terms of Darius A-Cup, crafty scorers, really solid playmakers, kind of liabilities defensively, and they're both small stature guards. If I'm the Clippers, I'm going to look at Keaton Wagler out of Illinois. 6'5", 6'6", point guard. He could probably slide over to the 2, and he can shoot the basketball. It might not be the greatest fit, but I think it'd be a better fit than trying to pair A-Cup to already small. We already have a small point guard in Garland. You know what I'm saying? And I think A-Cup could come to a team right away and help out. I don't know if he fits the Clippers dynamic. I think they should draft Wagler out of Illinois. He fits with them. And I think he could be a potential guy who, down the line, we might look at being, man, number 5, he went pretty low. He's skinny. He needs to get stronger. But there's talent there if I'm LA. And I'm willing to gamble on that. Even have Kingston Flemings who's in the running, who could be in that 5 to 9 range. There's a lot of guards. There's Kingston Flemings, A-Cuff, Wagler, Braden Burries. After that top 4, the consensus top 4, you got the guards going up next in that next 4. And the Clippers are in the driving seat after the top 4 to pick who they want. And I think they're going to go Wagler with the number 5 pick. You couldn't ask for a bigger break from the Clippers, especially with all the still have to get the investigation down with the Kawhi situation, how they got him, the money they got him. We'll see what eventually happens with that. because that's kind of gone quiet throughout the course of the season compared to the early part of the season. But if I'm Clippers, man, you got to be wiping off that sweat off your forehead. Like, whew, okay, we can get a potential another cornerstone, especially if Kawhi, we ended up moving him. Maybe it's time to part ways with Kawhi, get Wagler, and then try to get something for Kawhi, get some assets. He just had an All-NBA season. Maybe you want to restart fresh, get some young guys in here. That could be a potential direction the organization can go in as well. So that's something to think about now that you got some leverage at your disposal. So if I'm the Clippers, they're definitely a winner in this draft. Next for me is Utah. You're thinking efforts paid off. You might not have gotten the number 1 pick to get your guy AJ. We'll see if he drops to number 2. To me, in my humble opinion, I don't think AJ drops to number 2. But you still have a chance. If I'm Utah, Danny Ainge, there's some great talent. You can DP. I think Danny Ainge is gonna love. I know that DP talked about the creatine affecting his cramps and things of that nature. I've never taken creatine. I work out a lot. I'm a fit guy and love exercise, and I've never taken creatine, so I don't know if it cramps you up. But from what I've heard from people on Reddit and saw on Reddit and stuff like that, it does affect you in some way. So maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But we'll see what he does in summer league and next season. But if I'm Danny Ainge, I don't pass on that type of talent. I know Cam Boozer, solid player. I think he'll be an all-star in the league. I don't see superstar with Cam Boozer. Caleb Wilson, I know he looked great in the workouts and stuff like that. But he's still pretty raw to me. I think he has high upside, maybe the highest ceiling in the class. But I'm going with Darren Peterson. Because if everything goes right with Darren Peterson, we'd be talking about potentially the best player in this draft class. You could probably say the same thing for DeBansa or Caleb Wilson. Those three guys, I think, will be, when it's all said and done, perhaps 3 best players in this draft class. But Peterson, what he can do off the dribble, coming off screens, doesn't need the ball in his hand to be effective. He's an elite knockdown shooter. He can drive to the rim, and he sees himself as a point guard who has the ball in his hand and initiates the offense. You have him with Keontae George in that backcourt. Oh, man. And the season he just had before he had injuries that kind of derailed his season. Man. And then you have Jaren Jackson there. You have Ace Bailey. You have Lauri Markkanen. This is a team vying to make a playoff spot next year. They ain't taking no more. This team has the talent to compete for a playoff spot next season. Utah Jazz are coming, y'all. They're ready to play some jazz. All pun intended. And Darren Peterson, I think, fits perfectly with this team. I was always wondering if they got the number 1 pick, how would the Bansa and Ace Bailey dynamic fit? Because will they move Bailey and bring in Devansa? Because Bailey looked pretty good in the second half of the season. He started showing some promise, put some games together. He's very young. Remember that. He's like 19. He's still a teenager. He's still very young. He has a lot of untapped potential. He's raw. I want to see what he develops into. If I'm them, I still like what I got in terms of options at number 2. So Utah, definitely a big winner. They got a lot of young talent at their disposal, and they can do a lot of things here. So definitely a winner in this draft lottery. The next winner I have is the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis, now you have a chance to fully turn the page from the Ja Morant era. You could move your distressed asset in Morant, try to get some picks for him or something, and see what happens. And then whoever you draft at number 3, which is most likely going to be Cam Boozer or Caleb Wilson. And if I'm the Memphis Grizzlies, the grind city, the city that has a strong culture, and you want to get someone that could really put fans in the seats, similar to Ja but without the antics, Caleb Wilson is my guy. I used to have Cam Boozer going number 3 in this class for a while. But then I started watching more and more tape of Caleb Wilson, just his mentality, the way he carries himself. He still needs to become a better shooter, but he has some good shot mechanics. He shows some ability to shoot fadeaways and stuff like that, create his own shot at North Carolina. You can't teach his athleticism. He's a solid defender. He blocks shots. He's a competitor, and he can rebound the basketball, push in transition. If I'm Memphis, if I'm moving Ja Morant, and if I want to keep the fan base engaged and excited for the future, this is my guy. Caleb Wilson could be that dude for us for the next iteration of the Memphis Grizzlies. Now you got a franchise cornerstone in Wilson, and you pair him with Cedric Coward, who showed promise as a rookie, who I think will be a solid starter for 15 years. Zach Edey, hopefully comes back healthy, and you got a solid building block of young cornerstones that you could build around now. You'll eventually need a point guard, especially if you eventually move off of Morant. You'll need a point guard. You'll have to find one to get a point guard in free agency or the next couple classes, but I think Wilson could be that guy, man. I see a hybrid between Sean Kemp, a little bit of Giannis, some KG in him. He has that dog in him, and he fits the Memphis culture. So if I'm Memphis, I'm the same. Because if you draft Cameron Boozer, who I think is going to be good, but I'm not as high on him as other people in terms of, oh, he's going to be the Tim Duncan of the modern era. Some people think that. I'm like, his dad said, of course, his dad's a little biased, but I don't know. He's a little slow defensively, slow-footed, doesn't move as well laterally as I like. He's not as tall as I like him to be. I don't know. I'm kind of a little worried, but I think Cam Boozer would be good, but I just don't see him being better than Caleb Wilson or like any of those or DP. But hey, Memphis got a tough decision because I think the draft really is going to start at 3. I think Nabansa and DP go 1 and 2. In either one of those orders, we'll see how DP does in interviews and things of that nature, how much we get on intel, on if the Wizards really love him, they work him out in the interviews. So maybe they might want to go with him, pair him in the backcourt with Trae Young. But I think Wizards are going to go to Bansa. Utah will go with DP. And then I have Memphis going with Caleb Wilson. Because I just think Wilson is going to be special. I feel like if he didn't get hurt and he got to show himself in the NCAA tournament, we'll be talking about him as a number 2 or 3 pick in this class. Maybe even number 1 if they would have made a deep run in the tournament. If he didn't get hurt, we could be talking about him at number 1. But fortunately, he had the hand injuries that affected his freshman season at UNC. But he's definitely somebody, two-way impact player and a ferocious competitor. Chicago Bulls, number 4. It's really going to come down whoever gets drafted number 3. They're going to pick whoever's left over between Boozer or Caleb Wilson. And if you're the Bulls, Matis Bazelis showed some promise last year. You have Josh Giddey, solid point guard. I think Caleb Wilson will fit perfectly there in terms of that run and gun offense, get on transition. They have some young guys there. Him and Bazelis at the wings, dunking on people. Yeah, that'll be something to watch. Or if it's Cam Boozer, now you got a solid presence down low, a guy who can spread the floor and shoot the 3. That's something I can see as well. So Chicago, they're lucky to be in this top 4. Now, some losers. I know they still got a top 10 pick, but the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, come on. You guys were so horrific this season, hard to watch, and you guys don't even land in the top 4 to get one of the 4 franchise cornerstones everybody's saying is a top 4 and it kind of drops off. That's tough. That's tough. And if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, you got to ask yourself, okay, you're looking at the guards here. Keaton Wagler, you're either going to get between Wagler, Acuff, Flemings, Burries. That's one of the guys you're probably looking at around this range. Maybe you take a limb, maybe go Mikal Brown Jr., who was projected to be a top 5 pick at one point before the college season, and he had some injuries, and then the team didn't perform well. So that's why he's dropped in mock drafts. But if I'm Brooklyn, man, do you want to take something? You want to take the risk and take Acuff at number 6? I mean, you already got Nolan Traore there. You have a lot of guards there already. Do you just go with the best player available, Acuff? Or does Acuff maybe drop to the Kings down to 7? That's the question they might have to ask themselves. Because if I'm Brooklyn, you did all that tanking, and you don't even get a top 4 pick. That's tough. So, they're definitely one of my losers in this class. And then the Pacers. Indiana Pacers, man. Like, Halliburton, your franchise cornerstone last year, goes out with a torn Achilles after risking himself in the Game 7 NBA Finals. Hobbled, injured with a calf injury, gets hurt, misses all of this season. You trade away for Avita Zubac. You protect your pick, but then leave it open for a chance, 5-9 for the Clippers to get your pick if it doesn't lands outside that range. And then now you get nothing to show for it for a tanking season. That has to be rough if you're the Pacers. All this for nothing. You basically come back with the same exact roster next year, but with your superstar coming back, hopefully fully healthy, stronger. We'll see how he looks coming into the preseason and early next season off his Achilles. But it would have been nice for them to get a Debansa or be able to add a DP or Caleb Wilson alongside Halliburton. Imagine Wilson running the wing in transition with Halliburton's passing playmaking ability. Oh my goodness. Transition would have been movies. You would have been seeing crazy highlight reels. Him and Debansa. Oh, the way those two could fill in the wings and run in transition, that would have been scary. But unfortunately, that's just not how it turned out. So, yeah, Indiana definitely one of my biggest losers. Another one of my biggest losers, Sacramento Kings. You guys are another team that was so horrific this season. Hard to watch. And you guys have lost a lot over the last, since this century, honestly. Honestly, probably since you guys been in existence. And you guys fall to number 7. You won't be in the DP, Wilson, the Bansa, or Booster sweepstakes. So number 7, around this range, we could possibly see you getting A-Cuff. I could see A-Cuff either going between the Kings, the Brooklyn Nets, somewhere around there. And if I'm the Kings, I love A-Cuff's character. I love what he brings. He's a dog. He has a winning mentality. And I think he could be an all-star in this league one day. I think he's going to be special. Maybe the Clippers want to go for him. Or you can maybe look at Kingston Flemings. Those are some potential options right there. But if I'm Brooklyn and number 6, you kind of want a bigger guard. Maybe you lean Mikael Brown Jr. 7, maybe you go Kingston Flemings. Or there's A-Cuff. And then you have the Hawks at number 8 who have the Pelicans pick. The Hawks can maybe go grab a A-Cuff or go for Flemings. Because Wagler, to me, I think he's going to go to the Clippers. I think they're going to pick him up number 5. I just think A-Cuff, they already have Garland there. So unless they're going to move off Garland, the Clippers, I just don't see in any way it makes sense to choose another small guard who's a defensive liability, who's not an elite athlete. And I just don't think that's a good fit. And it's not a recipe for success we've seen in the NBA. So that's where I could see these teams thinking, what these teams are thinking in those GM rooms when they're getting ready for draft night. And then number 9, we have the Mavericks. If I'm the Hawks, you could potentially trade up maybe. Because there's some rumors out there. Jaylen Brown might want out of Boston. If I'm the Hawks, do I try to make a trade package for Jaylen Brown and try to get him? That's something you got to ask yourself. Do you want to trade this pick, maybe another solid player on your team, and maybe a couple first rounders to try to go get Jaylen Brown and try to go elevate more in East Conference next year? Or do you want to continue to build around this young core that surprised everybody this year? And Nikhil Alexander-Walker, who elevated to a fringe all-star. You have Jalen Johnson, who's a fringe All-NBA player who might make All-NBA third team this year. You have some quality young pieces on this team. So that's something you got to think about. Or do you want to stay put with this young team? Or do you want to go get the former Finals MVP All-NBA player in Jaylen Brown, who's still in his prime? That's something you got to consider. Even though he stated that he wants to stay in Boston, his stream says otherwise. And there's some tension out there about rumors on his relationship with Jason Tatum. Because he did say this was his favorite season of his career. And he got bounced out in the first round, blowing a 3-1 lead, which was controversial to me, honestly. I'm like, this was really your favorite season, bro? I was questioning. I'm like, really? Not the year you won the title and Finals MVP? Makes you scratch your head. Yeah. So, number 9, we have the Mavericks. It's interesting here. The Mavericks, they can either, if A-Cuff drops to 9, I can see them taking A-Cuff, but they have Kyrie Irving. Maybe they try to groom him in off the bench with Kyrie Irving still there, and then he becomes their guard of the future. Or they get Braden Burries here, who can slot in right away, make an impact. He's ready, has an NBA ready body at 6'4", 215. He's a shooting guard. He can pair in right away to that backcourt with Kyrie Irving and play alongside Cooper Flagg to build a good, solid young core. And you have Derek Lively coming back as well. Yeah, something special there. If I'm the Mavericks fan, even though I know you guys would have wished to, pick higher in this draft, but that's something to consider. And then from 10 to 14, we have the Bucks at 10, Warriors 11, Thunder at number 12. Their picks from the Clippers, 13 the Heat, and 14 the Hornets. Hornets I don't really care about, but number 10 with the Milwaukee Bucks. We know all this talk. Is Giannis going to be on the Bucks next year? Me personally, I'm gonna say 80 to 20, 80% chance he won't be on the Bucks starting next season. Training camp next year, he'll be in a different uniform, and I'm gonna say it's either gonna be the Miami Heat or the New York Knicks. I have a 70% chance it's gonna be a team in the East. I don't see Golden State having enough assets to trade for him. I know there's potential talk. Earlier this season, the Spurs and Thunder, but I don't think those teams want to break up their cores that they have right now at the way they've been winning with those young cores on those cheaper contracts. Especially with Giannis' injury history, you got to consider that. And if I'm the Milwaukee Bucks, choose the high upside guy here, and we'll see what they do. But I think they're going to choose a guy maybe around Ade Mara, Michigan, 7'3", 260, 7'6" wingspan. I think if he gets stronger and gets a shot, he could be a potential guy that could show some all-star potential. Maybe be a building block for you going forward, especially if you move off Giannis. And if you trade Giannis to one of these teams, you get a lot of assets for him, a lot of first-round picks, and maybe another player. And then that's your building block for the future. Because he obviously wants out. There's no way I see him coming back next year. that relationship is over. It's fizzled out. It's run its course. So if I'm the Bucks, you choose the best player available in this class at number 10. The Warriors are interesting because it's not as high as you want, but they can still get a quality player. We'll see who they pair with Curry, but they got to get the best player available. And honestly, we'll see who they pick because I feel like at level 11, Mikael Brown Jr. can drop here. We can have Braden Burries here, Liberion Philon. It all depends. But I can see them going with one of the guards here. And we'll see what they do with this pick because maybe they want to trade and get a veteran. If I'm them, you want to get this is a good draft, enough talent in the lottery. I would stay put. You're not going to get Giannis with just this pick and trading away. You don't have enough valuable players or interesting enough to go and put out a package for Giannis. So, just my thoughts. And then Hannes Steinbach for Thunder. I think he'll be a great fit there. OKC, I can see him being a perfect OKC player. We'll see what happens there. Miami Heat. Imagine Yaxel Lendeborg goes there. Or Mara drops there. That'll be interesting. I can see something like that happening. Lendeborg, to me, looks like the prototypical Heat player. An older player who would come in right away, make a difference, and play winning basketball. He fits the Heat culture. I can see him going to either OKC or Miami. So I see him being the oldest player drafted in the lottery. So, yeah, this lottery was interesting. I feel like some of these teams that dropped, they'll still get some quality players. Obviously, not as high as they would like the Brooklyn Nets, Sacramento Kings, or even the Dallas Mavericks. But man, if I'm the Grizzlies, if I'm the Jazz and Wizards organizations, fans, you got a lot to be excited about because you have a chance to choose a franchise-altering player who could come in and be one of the best players in the next 5 to 10 years. I'm talking about Bansa, Peterson, Wilson. Those are my top 3 in this class. And I think they all have a chance to be flat out special. So, I don't know what you guys think about the draft lottery. Who were the biggest winners or losers? This was a tremendous, honestly weird that they had the draft lottery on Sunday. I wish they had it on Tuesday. That way I didn't have to worry about it on Mother's Day. But, yeah. hopefully, they get it back to the regular program schedule uh, next next year. But yeah, I don't know who you guys think. Who's gonna be the best player in this draft? Honestly, if you ask me 5, 10 years from now, I think it's between Zabansa and Caleb Wilson. I think those two, man, their highest upside, I can see MVP potential. DP, I see Ray Allen, Devin Booker. I think he'll be a perennial all-star, maybe some NBAs. But I don't know about MVP in a league that has SGA, Wemby, Cooper Flag. Man, like those guys. And then you still have Jokic in his prime, Giannis if he's healthy, SGA, Luka. Oh, man. But yeah, this is a very good draft class, and it's going to be fun and exciting to see how the draft combine goes, the draft workouts, the interview process, and everything leading up to the draft. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to do draft lottery reaction. My voice is getting a little bit tired, so I'm just gonna talk about the draft lottery. I'm not gonna talk about the playoffs. My voice is a little tired, and then plus I'm doing it solo. So, but that's gonna do for this episode on DJ Sports Show, reacting to the lottery and my biggest winners and losers of the NBA draft lottery. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the like, subscribe button, show anybody know who loves sports, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.